Hello everybody, Board Game Lawyer here. It's a Friday evening and I'm going to play some Marvel Champions from Fantasy Flight Games. And I'm particularly excited today to play this particular game because I'm going to be playing with some brand new cards that I've never played with before. So it's a brand new hero that came out this week in the Age of Apocalypse expansion box. And his name is Bishop. So Bishop has a thwart of 2, an attack of 2, and a defense of 1 on his hero side. He's also a temporal X-Men, which has energy absorption, which is a response after Bishop takes any amount of damage from an attack. Discard an equal number of cards from the top of your deck. Add each resource card discarded this way to your hand. So after he takes any amount of damage from an attack. All right, and so let's take a look at his alter ego side. He is Lucas Bishop, who has a recovery of 4. In his alter ego form, he is mutant and temporal. His ability is temporally displaced. Response: after you change to this form, add a temporal card in your discard pile to your hand. So those are the abilities on this brand new hero. He begins with 12 hit points, which I have here on my dial. And he also starts with a hand size of 6. And so we'll mark him as being readied right now. Okay, so we're going to do something new against something old. I always like to take a brand new hero up against something that I'm familiar with, and so that's Rhino. So we have our Rhino dial set at 14 here because that's how many hit points he has. He is the standard 1/2 Rhino who has a scheme of 1, an attack of 2. He's a brute criminal. And let's take a look at his main scheme. So the break-in tells us to use Rhino 1 and 2. And Rhino and standard encounter sets. Now, so the standard encounter set we removed from this campaign or from this game. Instead, we're using standard 3, which has a card that's an environment that's part of a permanent setup that begins in play. It has a force response that says after you place a pursuit counter here, if the number of pursuit counters is at least 3 more than the number of players, so we're looking for 4 pursuit counters. Then you remove each counter from here. If your Nemesis minion is in play, it activates against you. Otherwise, flip this card over. So this is an environment that's going to stay in play until 3 or more than the number of players is removed from here. All right, so that's Pursued by the Past, which is part of the standard 3 set. And I mixed the other 7 cards from the standard 3 set into the encounter deck today. So again, as part of our setup, it says for us to use a standard encounter set, which we're using standard 3, 1 modular encounter set. The recommended one is Bomb Scare, but I took that out and I put in Power Drain, so we got Electro working alongside with Rhino today. So for setup, we just advance to stage 1B. Let's shuffle all of our cards in our encounter deck. We've already shuffled these off screen, but I'll just give them a quick shuffle again. Same thing with my hero cards. I'll give my hero cards a quick shuffle. All right. And it looks like Bishop begins with a hand size of 6, so I'll go ahead and draw up those 6 cards now. So we have side by side. We also draw X23. So we're playing with all new cards. This is the precon deck that came with the Age of Apocalypse campaign box for Bishop. So these are the cards. So a lot of these are new. I'll be reading them probably. I've read them once when I opened the pack, but now I'll be reading a lot of them for the first time. We've got Energy 2. We have Bishop's Uniform. We draw a Genius card. And we also draw another side-by-side card. So what's side-by-side tell us? It's a hero action. Ready your sidekick, ready your hero, and choose one. So you can heal one from both characters, or both characters get +1 thwart, +1 attack till the end of the phase. So I don't have my sidekick out, and the only ally I have in hand is X23. We have Bishop's Uniform. After you resolve Bishop's energy absorption ability, exhaust Bishop's Uniform, heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. Okay, and there's a Genius and another side by side. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'm going to, as my mulligan, I'm going to discard these two cards here, side by side, and draw two more. So we've got Team Training, which is play under any player's control, maximum per player. Each ally you control gets +1 hit point. And we also have Supercharged, which is an action. Discard a resource card from your hand. Place one charge counter here for each resource icon on the card. So it's an upgrade. It says Hero Interrupt. When you make a basic attack, discard Supercharged. You get +2 for this attack for each charge counter here to a maximum of 8. So that is a free upgrade that could go out onto the table. So question is, what cards am I going to play today? I think for sure I want to put out Bishop's Uniform. After you resolve his energy absorption ability, exhaust Bishop's Uniform, heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. So yeah, let's put Bishop's Uniform out on the table. Let's pay 2 energy to put it out. And it's readied. Okay. And then we have some resources we can spend for X23. After X23 attacks and defeats an enemy, ready her. So we'll spend 2 resources for Genius and 1 resource from Team Training to put out X23 onto the table. And then we have our upgrade, which is discard a resource card from your hand. Place 1 charge counter here for each resource icon on that card. So that upgrade's just going to sit there on the table. And when you make a basic attack, discard it. Okay, so this gets discarded when we make a basic attack. It's a Hero Interrupt, so we can choose when to use that. So it's not one that will be exhausted. So we'll just set him over here for now. So we are going to flip over to our hero form. And so here we are, Bishop. After Bishop takes any amount of damage from an attack, discard equal number of cards from the top of your deck. Add each resource card discard this way to your hand. Is how he works. And we need to ready X23. So X23 is going to attack Rhino. So we'll exhaust her and do 1 consequential damage to do 3 damage to Rhino. 2, 3. So now he's down to 11. Bishop will exhaust him to do 2 damage to Rhino. 1, 2. So now he's down to 9. And that will be the end of my turn. So let's turn things back over to Rhino. And I'll drop my hand size now of 5 cards. So we draw the Power of Leadership. We draw Lead from the Front. We have Energy Conversion, which is a Hero Interrupt defense. When an enemy attacks, shuffle each resource card in your discard pile into your deck. You cannot take more than 3 damage from this attack. We have Concussive Blast, and we draw a Strength card. All right, so Rhino is going to place 1 threat onto the main scheme, break in. Rhino is now going to attack Bishop. And let me look at that defense card again, just to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly. So it doesn't cost anything. It says Hero Interrupt. When an enemy attacks, shuffle each resource card into your discard pile, into your deck. You cannot take more than 3 damage from this attack. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and play that. We're going to shuffle the resource cards in our discard pile, which we know is Energy and Genius. We'll go ahead and shuffle those into our deck. Shuffle those in. Okay, so Rhino is going to attack us. We'll discard that event. Rhino's going to attack us for 2, plus his boost is a 2, Fear the Future. So he hits us for 4, but remember he's only going to do 3 damage to us. And so we'll discard that. So we're going to take 3 damage. After Bishop takes any amount of damage from attack, discard an equal number of cards from the top of your deck. Add each resource card discarded this way to your hand. So he takes 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. And that takes him down to 9. Getting used to these new counters here. And then, so the Bishop's Uniform, it says after you resolve Bishop's energy absorption Exhaust Bishop's uniform to heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. So we took 3. We're going to discard side by side. We're going to discard Cable. And we're going to discard Bishop's Rifle. And let's see. Top of your deck, add each resource card discarded. There was no resource cards discarded. So we're going to exhaust Bishop's uniform. Exhaust Bishop's uniform. Heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. So right now I've got 2 resource cards in my hand. So we're going to heal Bishop for 2. So he, let's see, goes 10, 11. Get used to which way the dial turns here. Okay, so Bishop's up to 11 now. So it didn't seem like that was very fair to Rhino, did it? All right, and then we're going to draw the encounter card, which is I'm Tough. Give Rhino a tough status card. If Rhino already has a tough status card, this card gains Surge. All right, so now Rhino is tough. Okay, so now it's my turn, and I have a Concussive Blast, which says deal 6 damage to an enemy if you paid for this event with a resource ready card, Ready Bishop. Okay, and we have lead from the front. So I think that Concussive Blast is going to be real nice. Let's look at Supercharged again. Discard a resource card from your hand. Place 1 charge counter here for each resource icon on that card. So we could spend Strength and Lead from the front to pay Concussive Blast. And we can use the Power of Leadership, discarding that to place 1 charge counter here for each resource icon on that card. So the first thing we need to do is knock the Tough off of Rhino. So we're going to exhaust Bishop to knock the Tough off of Rhino. And then we are going to use our Concussive Blast. We'll use Lead from the front and Strength to do that. Deal 6 damage to an enemy if you paid for this event with a resource card, Ready Bishop. Okay, so we'll do 6 damage to Rhino. So he's going to get hit for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's now down to 3. We'll Ready Bishop. Okay, and then we'll discard this resource to put a charge counter on Supercharged. We'll hit Rhino for 3 with X23, so we'll exhaust her to hit Rhino for 3. 1, 2, 3. He takes him all the way down to 0. So stage 1 of Rhino is defeated. Stage 2 pops out, and it says, when revealed, search the encounter deck, discard pile for the break-in and take-in side scheme, reveal it, and shuffle the encounter deck. All right. We're going to go look for the break-in and take-in side scheme. There it is. So we'll put it out. It comes into play with 3 threat on it because it has that when revealed ability. Place an additional 1 threat here. We can do that. Shuffle that up. And we'll put 3 threat onto the break-in and take-in side scheme. Now that Bishop is readied, he can... instead of going after the break-in and take-in, let's take Rhino, or him after Rhino. We'll need to set our hit points to 15 now because we're at stage 2 of Rhino. So it's going to hit him for 2. 1, 1, 2, down to 13. And I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and Ready Bishop. We'll ready X23, giving her that consequential damage. I need to remember that. She has 3 health, so she only has 1 health left. We'll ready Bishop's uniform, and I'll drop my hand size to 5. So we have stored energy, supercharged. We got suit up. Search your deck and discard pile for an ally and an upgrade that can be attached to that ally. Add them to your hand. That's the suit up ability. We've got team training, and we have an energy card. Wow, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, we're placing one threat onto the break-in. Rhino is going to attack Bishop. He's going to hit him for 3 now, plus the star. It says, after this activation resolves, place 1 pursuit counter on pursued by the past. Okay, so Rhino is going to attack Bishop for 3. So he takes 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. He's now down to 8. Okay. And then Bishop's uniform says, so it says after Bishop takes any amount of damage from an attack, discard an equal number of cards from the top of your deck. Add each resource card this way to your hand. So we took 3 damage. Here's Randall, Marrow, and Stored Energy. So Stored Energy can come back to our hand, right? Discard equal number of cards on top of your deck. Add each resource card discarded this way to your hand. Good. And then Bishop's uniform says, after you resolve Bishop's energy absorption ability, exhaust Bishop's uniform, heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. So we've got 1, 2, 3 resource cards in our hand, so we get to heal back up to 8, 9, 10, 11. And there we go. Bishop's back up to 11. Seems like a cheat, right? Okay, so we have, we got to put a counter over here on Pursued by the Past because of our boost ability. Now we deal ourselves 2 encounter cards. Here's the first one, and here's the second one. The first boost card says, hard to keep down. Rhino heals 4 damage if no damage was dealt, was healed this way. This card gains Surge. So he's going to heal back up to 15. And it doesn't surge. There we go. And our next card is Drawing Nearer. Force response. After your turn begins, this is an obligation. That's part of the standard 3 set. So it's an obligation that goes on the table. After your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck. Place 1 pursuit counter on Pursued by the Past for each printed resource icon on that card. Alter Ego action, discard an identity-specific card from your hand, discard this card. So after your turn begins is when this obligation goes off. So that's the end of Rhino's turn, but my turn now begins, and we draw a, let's see, make sure of this again. After your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck, place 1 pursuit counter on Pursued by the Past for each printed resource on that card. So we're going to put another counter on Pursued by the Past. Okay, so that's the end of Rhino's turn. Let's see what we got in our hand. We need to do 15 damage to Rhino to get out of this game. We have, let's see, supercharged. We can actually, we could put some resources there and do lots of damage. We could also suit up. We may have enough resources to suit up. It says search your deck and discard pile for an, this is an alter ego action though. Search your deck and discard pile for an ally and an upgrade that can be attached to that ally. Add them to your hand. Okay, it's an alter ego action. Let's see, how do we want to operate this turn? Do we want to get rid of the break-in and take-in side scheme and flip down possibly into alter ego form? It would require 1 threat removal from X23 and 2 threat removal from Bishop. Then we could flip down and suit up if we want to, or we could just go supercharged and add a bunch of resources, which is not quite as fun, I don't think. Well, actually, team training is not bad. It says play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Each ally you control gets +1 hit point. That would keep X23 around for just a little bit longer. And seems good. Seems good. So let's do some team training. Play under any player's control, one per player. We'll set it out on the table there. We'll use a resource for that. And so we're going to go ahead and I think with X-23, we will exhaust her to remove a threat from the break-in and take-in. And then with Bishop, we'll exhaust him to remove 2 more threat off of break-in and take-in. So that side scheme is defeated. And then I will, let's see, suit up. That's an alter ego action. I do need to place 1 consequential damage on X-23 for that action. And if I flip down, I face threading out. Unless the alter ego can remove some threats. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to flip down into my alter ego form. It says, after you flip down, response, after you change to this form, add a temporal card in your discard pile to your hand. Let me see what temporal cards I have. There's Randall. Discard a resource card from your hand. Ready Randall. If that has a printed energy icon, heal 1 damage from Randall. Limit once per phase. So maybe we do that. Maybe we temporarily displace response. After you change this form, add a temporal card in your discard pile to your hand. So maybe I want to go find Randall. Let me see if there's any others. No, I think I'll hang on to Randall. So we'll grab him. And instead of suiting up, we'll use that as a resource. So yeah, we'll put Randall down on the table. Do I have an energy resource? Not already part of something. So here's what we'll do. We'll use stored energy and suit up to pay for Randall. Randall is readied. Sorry if I'm shaking the table. Let's see. Let me tighten this up a little bit. There we go. All right, so Randall is readied. We'll exhaust Randall to remove 2 threat from the break-in, just in case. And then we'll action, discard a resource card from your hand. Place 1 charge counter here for each resource icon on that card. That's what our supercharged is over there. So we'll do that. We're going to discard the stored energy to put 2 on supercharged. Here we go. And then we'll put another supercharged out on the table. It doesn't say it's 1 per player, right? I don't see that anywhere on there. So we'll put a second supercharged out here on the table. All right, so that's the end of my turn. We'll ready Randall. We'll ready X-23. Ready Bishop's uniform. And we'll ready Lucas Bishop. All right, so we draw our cards. Lead from the front. We've got another lead from the front. We have the power of leadership. We have a stored energy. We draw Legion. And we draw energy conversion, which is that defense card. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in our hand. We place 1 threat on the main scheme. On the break-in. Rhino is going to scheme for 1. Whoops. Not that card. We're going to draw a scheme for 1 plus 1 is 2. So we'll put 3 on the main scheme. And the encounter card is I'm tough. When revealed, give Rhino a tough status card. If he's already tough, this card gains surge. He's not tough already, so now he is. Okay. All right, that ends Rhino's turn. Now it's Bishop's turn. And there's nothing that we can do in alter ego form other than possibly this drawing near card. It says, after your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck, place 1 pursuit counter on pursued by the past for each printed resource on that card. I wonder if I did that before. I can't remember. So anyhow, there we go. There is a 1 resource on there. So now we're going to put 3. We'll have a total of 3 on Pursued by the Past. 1 more will cause it to trigger, and then this environment will flip over. So I think we're getting dangerously close. Alter Ego, discard an identity-specific card from your hand to discard this card. Well, I do have an identity-specific card, Energy Conversion. Let me see what Lead from the Front does, though. It says Hero Action, choose a player. Each character that player controls gets +1 thwart and +1 attack till the end of the phase. Okay, and then we've got another stored energy card. We might be able to pull off a win this turn. Let me see if I can. So Randall, we're going to exhaust Randall to remove the tough from Rhino. Okay. We're going to flip over Lucas Bishop to his hero side. And we will exhaust Bishop to do 2 damage to Rhino. 2 damage to Rhino. Going the wrong direction here. So he starts out at 15. Yeah, 15. And he goes down to 13. All right. I believe that's right. Now we've got this Lead from the Front. We could play both of those, or we could use our energy, our resources for damage. And we could still play a Lead from the Front. So, yeah, we're going to... we didn't discard that. X-23 is going to do 3 damage to Rhino, which will defeat her. So he gets hit for 3, down to 10. And now I think we do have enough to do the supercharged ability. So supercharged, let's just go ahead and add 1 more to that card, the Power of Leadership. So now we have 8 total damage, because this Hero Interrupt here says to when you make a basic attack, this card supercharged, you get +2 attack for this attack for each counter here to a maximum of 8. So we got 4 counters. So we have maxed out on our damage onto Rhino. So that takes him down to 2. And then we have this other supercharged out here on the table, which is a superpower. We're going to go ahead and put stored energy, put 2 counters on stored power, or supercharged. And then we're going to do again another Hero Interrupt. Oh, this is when I make a basic attack is when that happens. So I have to wait until I do a basic attack. So, back up here for a moment. I read that card wrong. So let's put our 4 counters back on. So it says when you make a basic attack, this card's supercharged. So those resources we spent to put on supercharged Bishop, we're going to bring back 2 damage. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. 2 damage. So he got hit for 3. Got hit for 3 from X-23, so that put him down to 12. And so now, here, when you make a basic discard, you get +2 for this attack counter. I wonder if I can't stack these on top of each other, because this is maximum of +8 attack. Is that for each card, or is that just for 1 card? So then instead, we exhaust Bishop, and we get rid of this card, and that does 10 damage to Rhino. And it puts him down to 2. So he's still in the game. I do have some resources here that I could use to pay for Legion. So we'll put Legion out. So we'll spend those 3 resources to put Legion out. Okay. And he's readied. And we'll have Legion attack Rhino for 1, and then there is a response. After Legion uses a basic power, discard the top card of your deck. If that card's printed resource is an energy, deal 2 damage to an enemy. A mental, remove 2 threat from a scheme, or 3, heal 2 damage from Legion. Alright. So you're going to do 1 damage to Rhino, and then discard the top card. It is a fist resource, so we heal 2 damage from Legion. Don't have any damage on him yet, but we do now because of the consequential. And that will end my turn. So I don't think these could stack because it says it's a maximum of +8 attack. So even if I was to discard both of these upgrades, I think I'll have to check the rules and see. But I need to check on Supercharge to see if I can actually move my attack greater than 8 by discarding 2 of these. So yeah, well, we'll leave it there for now. All right, so we'll ready Randall, and we'll ready Legion, and we'll ready Bishop. Rhino is going to place 1 threat on the main scheme, the break-in. Rhino's going to attack us. Oh, I got to draw my hand size up first. I got Malcolm, Advanced Suit, I've got Sidekick, I've got Command Authority, and I draw an Advanced Suit. So Rhino is going to attack Bishop. He's going to do so for 1 plus this card right here. It says discard 3 cards from the encounter deck. That's part of that boost. 1, 2, 3. And then he's going to do 3 plus 1 damage to Bishop. So it hits him for 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Knocks him down to 7. All right, and we discard 4 cards. So we discard Team Training, and we discard Genius. We discard Command Authority, and we discard Suit Up. So all of these cards just got discarded. It says after Bishop takes any amount of damage from an attack, discard an equal number of cards from the top of your deck. Add each resource discarded this way to your hand. Now the problem is I just decked myself by discarding those 4 cards. So they all go into the discard pile, and it gets shuffled in. I get an additional encounter card dealt to me, and there are no cards in the discard pile. Add each resource card discard this way to your hand. I guess I have to find that one. Yeah, I discarded a resource card. I should have put it right in my hand right away, I think. Still learning. And I think it was strength. Yeah. If it wasn't, it was a double resource. I remember it was a double resource that got discarded. I think it was strength. Okay, then we shuffle the deck. And then we're going to trigger Bishop's Uniform. So exhaust Bishop's Uniform. Heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. We got 1 resource card in my hand, which is strength. So he's going to heal for 2. And then we have this card here that was dealt. And now this one here. So we have 2 encounter cards that we have to deal with now. Here is our first one. It's the Sandman. He comes into play with toughness on him. Okay, we can handle that. Unless everybody attacks. And let's see what this one is. This is a Stampede, which is a when revealed hero, Rhino attacks you. If a character is damaged by this attack, that character is stunned. So we're just going to have someone jump out in front. How about Legion? Legion jumps out in front of this attack. Rhino's going to attack Legion for 3. It says discard 3 cards from the encounter deck on the Electro card. 1, 2, 3. And he's going to hit Legion for a lot. And is there any? Let's see. Rhino attacks you. If a character is damaged by this attack, that character is stunned. Well, he's so damaged that he's not going to even be on the table anymore. So Legion is discarded. Now my turn begins, which is interesting because we still have Drawing Nearer on the table. Discard. After your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck. Place one pursuit counter on Pursued by the Past. So there's one printed resource on the card. So we add one to Pursued by the Past. So that's going to trigger. We flip this over. And make sure. It says after 3 or more yep. If your Nemesis minion is in play, it activates against you. Otherwise, flip this card over. So we're flipping the card over. It is a permanent forced response. It says after you flip this to this side, find your Nemesis minion and reveal it. Search the set-aside area for your Nemesis side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle your remaining set-aside Nemesis into the encounter deck and flip this card over. Okay. So here is Trevor Fitzroy. He is our Nemesis minion. He has Quick Strike, which is a forced response after Trevor Fitzroy attacks and defeats an ally. If Portal Through Time is in play, place 2 threat on it. Otherwise, find it and reveal it. So he's going to Quick Strike Bishop for 3, which takes me down to 6. Let's go find our Portal Through Time. I know it says force response. When a temporal card is revealed, it gains Surge, limit once per phase. So we'll put that out on the table. Portal Through Time comes into play with 4 threat on it. Okay, and then the final 3 cards: Bantham, Temporal Trickery, and Temporal Trickery. These get shuffled into my encounter deck. Okay, thanks for bearing with me, everybody, while I get this straightened out. Okay, new cards. New cards we're learning. Okay, and the force response. After you flip this card, find your Nemesis minion, reveal it. Search the set-aside area for Nemesis side scheme, reveal it. Shuffle your remaining set-aside Nemesis into the encounter deck and flip this card over. And now it says permanent setup. Force response. After you place a pursuit counter here, if the number of counters here is at least 3 more than the number of players, remove each counter from it. If your Nemesis minion's in play, it activates against you. So this is a way to get your Nemesis minion to activate against you or to go find him. That's how this Pursued by the Past works. All right, but I don't think it put out any guards on the table. So let's see. Trevor Fitzroy is only a Quick Strike Elite Temporal Minion who has a scheme of 2 attack of 3 and 5 hit points. That forced response after he defeats an ally. Okay, and the Portal Through Time is on the table. It is a forced interrupt. When a temporal card is revealed, it gains Surge. Okay. And we've got Sandman out. So there's nothing guarding Rhino from taking the 1 damage that's needed in order to take him down. So we're going to go ahead and use Randall to do that. Let's use our buddy, Randall. We'll exhaust Randall to do 1 damage to Rhino, and that defeats Rhino. So this interesting. This triggered, it went off, and it didn't take a lot to get there, especially with this obligation on the table. I probably should have removed that sooner. And maybe that should have came out a turn sooner. I'm not sure if on my other turns, if on all my turns that I actually put that counter on there. I'll have to watch whenever I replay my video to make sure that I did that. So that's something that you got to remember to do with that Drawing Nearer on the table. So my initial thoughts are, I really like Bishop. Wow. And all of the different resource cards that he can get and use. That is crazy. Add each resource card, discard this way to your hand. Wow. So I guess as you're discarding them, then they would go to your hand, even if I decked myself. So needed to learn that rule. The other rule is the supercharged one. I don't know if these can stack on top of each other for an attack or not. It says when you make a basic attack, discard supercharged, you get +2 for this attack for each charge counter here to a maximum of +8. Maybe it just means this card. Maybe the game went longer than it should have. Maybe both of these should have been able to trigger, but I'm seeing a maximum of +8 attack. So even if you discard 3 or 4 of these, I'm still reading to a maximum of +8 attack. So my attack is 2, +8 would be the maximum um, +8. So, and I don't see where you can't put more than one of these on the table. Discard a resource from your hand. Oh, it's a discard a resource card from your hand. Place one charge counter here for each resource card. I don't see where there's any reason why you couldn't have all of them that you own out on the table at a time. Just whether or not you can use them all to their maximum efficiency. That's what I need to find out. So if you know that answer, please drop that in the comments down below. If there's anything that you saw that I messed up or missed during this playthrough, maybe there's something I could have done better. I'm sure there was. Please drop that in the comments down below too. Thank you for watching my video as always. If you want to see future playthrough videos of Marvel Champions, all you got to do is like and subscribe. And until next time, take care, everybody. Thanks, friends.